Dear old work platform, it's not you, it's us. Actually, it is you. Endless onboarding? Constant IT bottlenecks? We've had enough. We need a platform that just gets us. And to be honest, we've met someone new. They're called Monday.com, and it was love at first onboarding. Their beautiful dashboards, their customizable workflows got us floating on a digital cloud 9. So no hard feelings, but we're moving on. Monday.com, the first work platform you'll love to use.
7 things you don't really need to know, but probably should. I'm Jamie East, and this is the Sunday 7.
I'm Mike Wooler, back in for Jamie East this week. On today's episode of the award-winning Sunday 7, we visit space twice, once with celebrities and once with the fascinating planet K218b. We'll also hear about a tooth grown in a lab and the coolest thing on TV, moose migration. Plus, Will Guyatt, the Smart 7's resident tech guru, has all the details on Google's new lawsuits and Liz Truss's social network. No, really. If you're enjoying our episodes, please do like and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. We're here 7 days a week at 7 a.m. with the 7 biggest stories on the Smart 7 in association with Metro. Before we get started though, it was on this day in 1964 that the first picture phone call was made between New York City and Anaheim in California. The device consisted of a traditional telephone handset with a small matching TV, allowing users to see fuzzy images of each other as they spoke. The product was officially launched at the 1964 World's Fair, and a 3-minute call from then New York to California cost between $16 and $27. This week saw a spaceflight make headlines across the world as Blue Origin launched an all-female crew in a blaze of publicity. The astronauts for the 11-minute mission included Katy Perry, CBS TV host Gayle King, film producer Kerry-Ann Flynn, civil rights activist Amanda Onion, and former NASA rocket scientist Aisha Bowe. They were hosted by Lauren Sanchez, whose fiancé is, of course, Jeff Bezos, Amazon billionaire and founder of Blue Origin.
Mach 1, vehicle is supersonic. Engine back up to full throttle.
Supersonic, we have passed through max Q, maximum dynamic pressure. That's when the vehicle, the stresses between the atmosphere and the speed are at the maximum. So to punch through that is so important. You see the BE3 engines is firing beautifully. You see the stream of steam behind it. Those ladies right now are having an incredible view on their way to space.
The flight was pitched as a world first, an all-female space flight, with Kris Jenner and Khloe Kardashian doing the launch commentary, Oprah Winfrey waving off her friend Gayle King, and Jeff Bezos greeting the capsule on its return.
Life is about continuing to grow into the best of yourself and the fullest expression of yourself. And I think that this is one of the most fullest expressions you can possibly have. And I felt deeply that she would regret it. And I didn't want to hear about it for the next 15 years. I wish I had gone, you know, and I said, there's only one time that all the women are going up for the first time. You know, there will be other trips, but there's only one first time. Incredible. So to be a pioneer is great.
The only issue is, of course, that Blue Origin barely qualifies as a space flight. It's technically an 11-minute trip to the edge of the Earth's atmosphere, which is just long enough to give the feeling of weightlessness, but it's a world away from an actual space mission. That didn't stop Katy Perry from kissing the ground on her return to Earth, and the landing video sparked a frenzy of flat Earth and moon landing conspiracy theories because, of course, it looks nothing like an actual spaceflight. Not all of those celebrity space tourist community was on board with the idea either, with several well-known names taking to social media to criticise what they saw as a waste of money and resources and an undermining of actual female achievements in science and exploration. Emily Ratajkowski, the actress and model, wasn't holding back on her socials.
That space mission this morning, that's end-time shit. Like, this is beyond parody. Saying that you care about Mother Earth and it's about Mother Earth and you're going up in a spaceship that is built and paid for by a company that's single-handedly destroying the planet. Look at the state of the world and think about how many resources went into putting these women into space. For what? For what was the marketing there? And then to try to make it like, I'm disgusted, literally, I'm disgusted.
2024 was the year of big tech versus big law, but so far 2025 seems to have had its fair share of giant-sized legal cases against tech platforms too. Let's catch up with the Smart 7's tech guru and part-time unofficial big tech legal reporter, Will Guyatt. So, Will, big tech looks like it's heading back to court in the UK this time. What's happening with Google and this class action?
A British academic has launched this legal action and alleges Google abused its market dominance in online search and caused a cool $5 billion worth of damage to UK advertisers. Dr. Albrook knows what she's talking about as she's the Associate Professor of Competition Law and Policy at Leeds University. The suit claims that Google excludes others from Android phones and pays billions of dollars a year to Apple to have its search engine as default on Apple's Safari browser, which is installed on every iPhone. She says that businesses have almost no choice but to use Google Ads to promote their products and services online in 2025.
Google seems pretty unimpressed, right?
Based on their statement, it would appear that Google are not in the mood for another legal battle, saying it's yet another speculative and opportunistic case and we will argue against it vigorously. Consumers and advertisers use Google because it is helpful, not because there are no alternatives.
But there is an ongoing inquiry from the Competition and Markets Authority. Could their findings have an impact on this case?
These two cases are unrelated, but the CMA investigation also looks into the company's market power. These issues have now been litigated in other countries, and in the last week, the Japanese courts ordered Google to end the practice of forcing Android phone creators to bundle its apps and services. Times could indeed be a-changing.
Speaking of giant platforms, Spotify had an unusual interruption of service this week. Any idea what went on?
It's pretty rare that Spotify goes down, but subscribers had around 4 hours without their favourite tunes and podcasts last week. We're not sure what happened, as all we got from Spotify was 2 tweets, one confirming they were looking into the problem and one saying the problem was fixed, as well as thousands and thousands of Spotify users taking to social networks to complain. Most users were struggling with the app loading or playing songs, which is a pretty fundamental flaw when you're Spotify. Because the platform's now got 263 million subscribers worldwide, stuff like this always becomes a big story.
A not-so-giant tech platform also seems to be on the way. What is Liz Truss up to?
She's apparently launching an uncancelable social network. When I first heard of this, I'd literally just come round after a fondue binge, so I wondered if there was some kind of cheese fever dream still going on, especially when you discover she announced it at a cryptocurrency conference in Bedford. She talked about the deep state and mainstream media stifling freedom of expression in Britain, and she said her new social network could start a grassroots movement that demands change of our leaders. Despite the former Prime Minister making great play of an uncancelable and censorship-free social network in the UK, this is now actually illegal because of the Online Safety Act, which means it should be liable to huge fines if they ignored requests to take unsuitable content down and didn't get proactively involved in moderation. I do have a theory though, and hear me out. I think Liz Truss has actually got social networks and a message board confused. Let's see though.
Is this like the time Matt Hancock launched his own app?
I love the Matt Hancock app, particularly when around 2,000 people all signed up and called themselves Matt Hancock. His app ran for less than 5 years, which I think is going to be considerably longer than Liz Truss's. Let's not also forget that Donald Trump has his own social network called Truth.social, and that lost a cool $500 million last year, and he's the leader of the free world, so I can't see Liz doing much better with her effort.
Does she have a name for the new service? Should we suggest some?
There's been no name revealed for it yet. How about Let Us Chat or Trust Me? This is going to work. Actually, no, I've got one. Dead on Arrival.
Still to come on the Sunday 7 in association with Metro. Good news if you really hate going to the dentist, and bad news if you've got a sweet tooth. A study way back in 2013 found that at least 36% of people suffer from what's known as dental anxiety, while 12% suffer from a genuine fear of attending the dentist. That leads to dental avoidance, and we know that poor oral health can impact people's quality of life and long-term health. If you're one of those who dreads the drill, there was some good news this week as scientists in the UK at King's College London managed to grow a human tooth under laboratory conditions. The process involves introducing a material that enables cells to communicate with each other so that one can tell the other to start becoming a tooth cell. Dr. Angelova-Volpovi is the Director of Regenerative Dentistry at King's College London, and she explains how the process works.
These are two different cells, and they need to start the conversation, and they respond to each other. And that happens in a very well-orchestrated way. So we study the cells themselves, we study the conversation, the language, which for us is the signaling, the genes that they exchange, and we study that kind of environment where this will happen, because we know that they need to be close enough to start the conversation and actually do that.
But she says don't rush to book your appointment for freshly grown teeth just yet. To generate teeth in the real world or a patient's mouth is some distance away. However, she says the tooth experiment may also have other long-term benefits.
Of course, it's a long way, and we really need to gather all that knowledge and to establish all those conditions in order to do it as a clinically viable solution. But what is really important is also to gain that knowledge, because we know that many organs form in a very similar way, as I said. So any contribution in the knowledge and knowing how to do on a tooth will mean that we might contribute to make other organs as well.
So if you're listening to this episode on Easter Sunday, then hopefully the Easter Bunny has been and dropped off delicious eggs all over the house. But if you've been out shopping for Easter eggs, you'll have noticed that prices have taken a considerable jump, and that the humble Easter egg has been going through a bit of a transformation. Cocoa prices have skyrocketed, with cocoa selling for $10,000 a tonne earlier this year. That's more than 4 times what it cost in 2023, and that's had a major effect on your Easter treats. Eggs are getting smaller, and the ingredients may have also shifted, with less cocoa, more chocolate flavourings, and the addition of substitute fats, none of which sounds exactly tempting. William Curley is a Pâtissier chocolatier, and he spoke to ITV News this week about the impact on his work.
It's not great, that's for sure. Price increases to that extent, it's not great. I've been doing this nearly 21 years, and I think I've been able to, duck and dive. But it's frustrating to know that's what's out there.
And if you're hoping things will improve in time for your chocolate advent calendar, Jonathan Parkman, head of Cocoa at Marex, a global financial service platform, doesn't have great news.
Prices for chocolate are going to remain high and will probably go a little bit higher than they are currently. We're actually at a very sensitive period. If we have another shortfall, prices will go even higher than they have done so far.
Still to come on the Sunday 7 in association with Metro, space shows signs of life, and we find out why the moose migration is Sweden's hottest new TV show.
Right after this.
Ever wonder what your lashes are destined for? The cards have spoken. Maybelline New York Mascara does it all. Whether you crave fully fan lashes with Lash Sensational, big, bold volume from the Colossal, a dramatic lift with Falsies Lash Lift, or natural-looking volume from Great Lash, your perfect lash future awaits. Manifest your best mascara today. Shop Maybelline New York and discover your lash destiny. Shop now at Walmart.
Welcome back.
If you suffer from seasonal allergies, you probably already know that allergy season is underway. Millions of people suffer from hay fever and pollen-related allergies, and often find themselves taking antihistamines daily at this time of year to fend off running noses or watery eyes. A new study suggests that climate change is actually leading to longer allergy seasons. Mariel Benjamin is an assistant professor of allergy and immunology at the University of Michigan Health.
In general, allergy seasons are expected to be longer and more severe over time. This is due to climate change, which is causing warmer temperatures as well as increased carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere. A study in 2019 showed that pollen seasons are starting about 20 days earlier and lasting about 10 days longer. And then additional studies have shown that due to the carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere, we're seeing that plants are producing more pollen and stronger pollen that's causing more allergy symptoms.
A survey in 2001 showed that 60% of people in the UK who take allergy medication weren't happy with the results, but that could all be about to change. The asthma medication omalizumab has a positive long-term effect on allergies when given as an injection a couple of weeks before pollen levels start to rise. And doctors in the US are experimenting with other treatments involving monoclonal antibodies. They're intended to intervene before your body has a chance to react to pollen by delivering artificial proteins to your immune system, which block the receptors that create allergic reactions in the first place. But while that's all still in the future, what can you do right now to avoid the seasonal sneezes? Dr. Tania Elliott is a clinical instructor at NYU Langone Health and also a spokesman for the American College of Allergy, Asthma and Immunology.
Don't wear hairspray because pollen loves to stick to your hair.
I've never heard that.
Also, eyelashes. So maybe wearing sunglasses or not doing fake eyelashes because pollen will stick in between your lashes and then it's really hard to scrub inside there and then you end up with eye allergy symptoms. You also want to consider your indoor air quality. I like to call this our indoor microbiome and preventing pollen from being trapped inside your home. So my recommendation is putting an air purifier in your entryway and making sure that that's the appropriate size for your room. And then when you come inside, take off your clothes, put them in the laundry machine, and then hop in the shower and then wash all of that pollen off of you.
We've briefly been to space already in this episode, although it was literally for 3 minutes with Jeff Bezos. So does that even count? Anyway, apart from celebrity space tourism, real astronomers are constantly scouring the skies in search of intelligent life, or just any life in the vast reaches of space. And this week saw what could be a significant development as scientists using the James Webb Telescope detected 2 critical elements that could signal life on a giant planet 124 light-years away. The snappily named K218b has shown signs of 2 chemicals, dimethyl sulfide or DMS and dimethyl disulfide or DMDS, which doesn't necessarily mean that there is life on the planet, but makes it far more likely. Professor Niku Madhusudan is an astrophysicist at the University of Cambridge, and it was his team that first detected the chemical fingerprints.
It's a transformational moment in astronomy and in science because this is one of the longest standing questions in the history of science. Are we alone? And what we may be seeing are the first signs of being able to answer that question. The observations that we're making, the detections we're making are at what is known as a 3 sigma level. So there is still a 0.3% chance that it might be a statistical fluke. This is a big claim if it is true. So we want to be really, really thorough and make more observations and get the evidence to the level that there is less than a 1 in a million chance of it being a fluke. So we want to be really careful there.
If you've been searching for something to watch across the Easter weekend, we might have just the thing for you. In 2019, a Swedish national broadcaster, SVT, began showing live footage of an unusual annual event, a moose migration. It's tapped into what's known as slow TV, kind of like reality TV without all the drama. And Annette Hill, who is a professor of media and communications at Jönköping University in Sweden, says the pace of nature-based TV allows people to relax. The moose migration has been setting new viewership records each year, with 9 million people watching it in 2024. It's now streaming on SVT Play, and this year has kicked off a week early due to warm weather. Johan Erlag is the project manager at SVT and says this could be the future of TV.
The slow TV concept and the meditative feeling of the program is actually what people like, because everyone is so stressed today with the social media and the way we produce everything we do in our life, and this is the total opposite of that.
This has been the Sunday 7. Wherever you're listening, do us a favour and hit the follow button. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. with the regular Smart 7. Have a great rest of your weekend. Written, produced and published by Daft Doris.
Ever wonder what your lashes are destined for? The cards have spoken. Maybelline New York Mascara does it all. Whether you crave fully fan lashes with Lash Sensational, big, bold volume from the Colossal, a dramatic lift with Falsies Lash Lift, or natural-looking volume from Great Lash, your perfect lash future awaits. Manifest your best mascara today. Shop Maybelline New York and discover your lash destiny. Shop now at Walmart.